Sechus Moed Katan Daf Chaf Test, the last short daf in the Masechta. We'll begin with the last few lines in daf on daf Chaf Ches. So we have more of a full-size daf. The daf gives a number of halachos about a mourner and how he's supposed to run the operation when people come to console him. So my first says that Rav Yochanan says no one speaks until he speaks. He's the one that has to speak first. We learned that from Eov, where it says Acher Kein Pasach Eov Es Pio, that they sat with him on the ground for 7 days. No one said anything until Eov spoke first, and then they all spoke up. And then it says Vayan Eliphaz Atimani, and then Eliphaz Atimani spoke. So you see that first the Avel begins speaking, and only then are others allowed to speak. Now the Gemara says that the mourner, the Avel, should sit at the head. He should sit at the head of the table, or the head of the arrangement, as it were. So how do we see that? That's also from a pasuk in Eov, where it says, "Evchar darkam ve'eshev rosh ve'eshkon kemelch b'gadod ka'asher avelim yenachem." I would choose their ways to sit at the head, rest like a king among his troops, as one who consoles the mourners. So you see that the mourner is sitting at the head. The Gemara asks, hold on a second. It says that that ka'asher avelim yenachem, that when they are being consoled, that seems to indicate that the consolers are the ones who are at the head. When they are consoling, it says Kasher Avim Yenachem. When they are consoling, that's the proper reading, the mourner. So it's the consolers who are sitting at the head. More says no, it shouldn't be Yenachem. It should be Yinochem, which is a reflexive form, which means to say when they are being consoled, and therefore it's referring to the Avel, not referring to the Menachamim. Now the Gemara gives another makar for this. Mar Zutra. This comes from the pasuk V'sar Mirzach Siruchim, a pasuk in Amos. The Gemara reads this differently than the simple pshat and says it means that the mourner becomes the prince of the exalted ones. Mizrach Nasesar Lesruchim. So Sruchim refers to the ones who come to console, to the Menachamim, and the Mizrach is the Avel, and he's Sar Mizrach Sruchim. He's Nasesar, becomes like the leader. Now, Mara says, similarly, the chassan should always be sitting at the head of the table at his simcha. Like it says, Kechassan Yechayin Pe'er, a chassan should be like a kohen, and a chassan sits at the head of the table, so a kohen sits at the head of the table, so a chassan also sits at the head of the table. How do you know that a kohen sits at the head of the table? Well, that's halacha we learned from a brisa, Tan Rabbi Shmuel, the pasuk V'kidashtai. It's a mitzvah on Klal Yisrael to be mekadesh a kohen, and therefore in any matter of kedusha he should go first. He's the first one to get the first aliyah. He should lead the bracha. He should say the bracha is a mazon and a suda, and he should take the best portion. He'd be the first one to choose which portion he wants. Now the Gemara talks a little bit about the departure of the soul from the body. Rav Chanina says it is as bad as pulling a rope with a knot on it through a tight hole. You often find by ships. Rav Yochanan says a similar thing. It's like pulling a pitiri through a hole. That is, Rashi says, a rope that connects two ships. That's a stronger. It's a little harder to get out. Now the Gemara says one who departs from a person who is dead, that he's leaving the dead, or one who's about to die, shouldn't say this in a way that he should understand. He should say lech bishalom. One who's leaving from the living should say lech lishalom. Should not mix these two things up. For the dead we say lech bishalom. For the living we say lech lishalom. What's the source from that? So when Hashem told Avram Avinu about his death, he said, Bishalom, you shall come to your fathers in peace. Bishalom, he said, Lech Bishalom. As far as when someone said Lech Bishalom to the living, David said it to Avshalom, and Avshalom, of course, was hung from a tree shortly thereafter. So that didn't work out too well. So don't say Lech Bishalom to someone who's not supposed to die soon. However, Yisro did say to Moshe Lech Lishalom, and that worked out just fine. He went to Mitzrayim and he was very successful, and therefore that is the correct thing that we should say. Because Reb Levi, somebody goes directly from shul to the Beis Medrash, and from the Beis Medrash to shul, doesn't waste time. He's always either learning or davening. He will be Makabel Pnei Shechina. He will greet the face of the divine presence. Like it says, Yechel Michael Chayil, Yera Elikim Tzion, one who goes from Chayil to Chayil, from battle to battle, meaning from mitzvah to mitzvah, will appear before Kadosh Baruch Hu in Tzion. Another pasuk, another drasha on that same pasuk is Rav Chia Bar Ashi. Says the Talmidei Chachamim, even in Olam Haba, do not rest. They're still learning and still working. Like it says, Yelchu Michael Chayil, Yera Elikim B'Tzion. Go from battle to battle, from the battle of doing the right thing in this world to learning Torah with the Geshmak in the next world, in Tzion before Hashem in Olam Haba. Hadron alach Meseches Moed Katan v'Hadrach alach.